In the Crossfire tonight, we've got Democratic Senator Ben Cardin and Republican Senator Tim Scott. Welcome to you.
Thank you very much.
Senator Scott, this is your first time on Crossfire, first time, I think, on CNN. So we're
a long time.
Well, good. Well, we're lucky to have you.
Thank you.
Now, listen, I am concerned because I've been watching all this footage from the Kennedy era, and it seems like there was a time when you had the parties cooperating and working together, and now it looks like a big mess, even on something as simple as getting judges approved through the Senate. We're going to have a nuclear option to get judges approved. What is going on in the Senate, and what you going to do about it?
I would tell you that having a nuclear option would be like having OBAMACARE 2.0. So the fact of the matter is that over the last 5 years, we've seen 215 judges approved, only 2 defeated. 215 approved, only 2 defeated. So the fact of the matter is that as it relates to getting judges approved, it's happening. The question we really should look at is, why can't we find a legislative common ground or lower taxes, put people back to work, and get back to the primary question, which is Americans, they want jobs.
They want jobs, and we will get to that.
But legislation in regular order. The question is, and I could ask my colleague,
Certainly.
will the Republicans want to consider this in regular order and not just try to repeal, but to try to make it work better?
We certainly would be happy to talk about making Obamacare a more effective piece of legislation. The best way to do it, in my opinion, is to repeal it. If we could do that, we could get on common ground. You've even had some criticism recently about the rollout of the exchange. Healthcare.gov is now synonymous with failure. The challenge with Obamacare is simply this. In my state, we had 400,000 South Carolinians without insurance. Today, we've had less than 600 sign up for Obamacare, but we've had 150,000 additional people losing their insurance because of Obamacare. So the real challenge that we see today is that we need to come back to a free market solution to make sure that people have greater access to health care. One of the ways that we do is look at some alternatives that would reduce the price of health insurance. I've got a couple that I'd like to talk about. No, I think if you look at the way that remember, 2/3 of the government today are run by the Democrats, and what we've seen so far is that when the Democrats have the vote, they vote. When they don't, they ask for compromise. And so the fact of the matter is that it's hard for you or for anyone else to point at the Republican Party and say that we're the obstructionists when we're only the minority party in Washington, D.C. There are ways for us to find common ground to move this country forward. The president said in 2 of his last State of the Union speeches that we need to work hard to lower corporate taxes. We have the highest corporate tax rate in all of the world, 35%. He says, I believe as well, we could create 1 million new American jobs right here in our soil if we lowered the corporate tax rate from 35 down to 28 or under 30%. Chairman Baucus wants to lower the corporate tax.
So you see an opportunity for some kind of a breakout?
There is an opportunity for us to find common ground and move this country forward if we focus not on ourselves, not on Republicans or Democrats, but on American families who sit at kitchen tables, like my mom, who's a single mom, sitting there, scratching her head, figuring out how many extra hours she's going to have to work just to make sure that we had clothes to go to school. That's something we can get done. And for me, one of the things we're working on is eradicating poverty in our country.
That's great.
There's a way for us to take a look. For me, it's a free markets approach. There's a way for us to encourage people towards earned success, talk about education reform that gets to a place where kids that grew up in neighborhoods like I grew up in look in the future and believe that this country, this day, can change the entire rest of their lives.
Yeah,
I think it's possible.
And in 10 seconds, what are your thoughts?
Well, no, I grew up with, I had action figures. I named them JFK and RFK and MLK because my parents were such big supporters of the Kennedys and the Kings. And, you know, and I just, look, I join hands with you in terms of eradicating poverty and doing all those great things. I want to thank both of you for being here. It just means so much to have you on a day like this.